Biologists ran screaming from the Amazon after their camera captured something science was never meant to see alive.
Not a myth, not a legend, not a misidentified animal, but a moving, breathing anomaly that shattered months of research in seconds. The footage shows something watching back from the jungle, something that forced trained scientists to abandon equipment, samples, and sanity. What they encountered didn't behave like any known species. It didn't follow evolutionary rules. And after that moment, the expedition ended in silence, panic, and unanswered questions. Governments offered no explanation. Science stalled. The jungle kept its secret. What was recorded that day may rewrite everything we think we know about life on Earth and why it doesn't want to be found.
Before we uncover the footage, like, comment, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered.
Just after midnight on a rural access road, a patrol dashcam recorded an officer standing beside a towering humanoid covered in thick fur, illuminated only by headlights. The massive silhouette remained perfectly still. Long arms hung far below normal proportion. Its eyes reflected stark white light. Researchers believe the subject may represent a hybridized mutation involving extreme muscle density and spinal elongation. Its height shifted subtly as posture changed, suggesting unstable skeletal structure. Beneath the brown fur, witnesses noted glimpses of pale, cracked skin. Joints appeared to rotate slightly off their natural axis. Despite its size, described as bison-heavy, the creature moved with near-total silence. Rather than fleeing, it relied on stillness, implying either radiation-induced gigantism or an undocumented primate offshoot adapted to avoid conflict through compliance. The most unsettling detail was its behavior. It did not resist. Which leads to a chilling question. Was it truly captured, or did it choose to go? In an open field after dark, a motion-activated trail camera recorded a pale, elongated creature advancing directly toward the lens. A thin frame moved closer. Limbs bent backward in infrared. Eyes burned red in the darkness. Analysts suggest extreme musculoskeletal restructuring, with elongated forelimbs bearing most of the body's weight. Its skin appeared smooth and hairless, stretched tight like latex, while ridges protruded along the spine. Movement was erratic but capable of sudden acceleration. Some researchers note similarities to chupacabra reports from the 1990s. Hairless, spine-lined predators associated with livestock deaths, suggesting either convergent mutation or a shared environmental trigger. Predators typically avoid cameras. This one approached. If it wasn't hunting, the question becomes unsettling. What response was it testing? Shortly after midnight, on a wooded back road, a fixed security camera captured a small white humanoid darting from behind a low stone wall. A bulbous head snapped sideways. Long fingers scraped across gravel. No animal sounds followed. Experts believe the being may represent a failed bipedal adaptation. Its head was oversized, limbs thin and elongated with extra joints, and skin pale and cracked, reflecting infrared light unnaturally. Movement shifted between hesitant shuffling and sudden bursts of speed, like a malfunctioning prototype unsure of its design. Nearby residents later reported a faint hissing sound, similar to mechanical wind. Its choice of location stood out. It avoided deep forest. It crossed a road. If it understands where humans least expect movement, that suggests not instinct, but observation. Traffic ground to a halt on a narrow city street as a dash-mounted police camera documented officers attempting to restrain a screaming, hairless humanoid in the roadway. The head appeared swollen beyond proportion. The jaw dislocated sideways mid-screen. Bystanders retreated in visible panic. Medical analysts suggest the specimen displayed signs of extreme tissue overgrowth and cranial deformation, possibly linked to endocrine collapse or experimental exposure. Its skin stretched thin and slick, like overheated rubber, while additional joint articulation was visible in the shoulders. Under harsh streetlights, its eyes reflected stark white. Movement oscillated between violent convulsions and sudden, deliberate lunges, like a broken machine briefly recalling how to hunt. Its breathing produced a warped blend of wind noise, human tone, and mechanical rasp. If a body this unstable can still strategize in flashes, the real danger may not be mutation itself, but what happens when control replaces chaos. At night in a private bedroom, a phone recording captured a crying newborn with clearly non-human proportions. Torso overly dense, limbs twisted inward. The cry sounded hollow and distorted. The infant showed signs of catastrophic genetic incompatibility. Compressed rib cage, oversized musculature, thick wrinkled skin, and joints reinforced with excess cartilage. A faint metallic rot smell suggested environmental contamination or experimental manipulation. Movements were uncoordinated but powerful, like a body assembled without a final design. If this represents an early generation, survival may not be the greatest concern. The real fear lies in what the next generation becomes, once the blueprint improves. Late afternoon on a dirt path near farmland, a laborer's phone recorded a massive humanoid advancing on its forearms. Shoulders rolled first. Hands dug into soil. The head stayed low. Its anatomy showed extreme upper limb hypertrophy. Forearms thicker than thighs, neck nearly absorbed into the torso, legs reduced to secondary supports. Skin was dark, cracked, and oily. Movement was jerky but forceful, with brief flashes of pale eyes and a rasp like air through rusted pipes. The structure suggests prolonged quadrupedal adaptation or severe genetic distortion. If its strength has shifted upward this far, the danger may come when it tries to stand again. Early evening in a suburban yard, a body-mounted action camera recorded two low-moving figures rushing forward. Bodies dropped flat, limbs slapped stone. Laughter stopped instantly. The smaller subject had mass concentrated in the torso, shortened reinforced limbs, glossy pale skin, and sudden bursts of speed. Its movement resembled a compact weight launched forward, eyes briefly reflecting green, breath sounding mechanical. The build suggests abnormal muscle density or engineered stress adaptation. If it accelerates without warning, how long before someone underestimates it again? A quiet residential courtyard, boxed in by concrete walls, became the scene of an incident no training manual could explain. A municipal body camera recorded multiple officers struggling to restrain a screaming non-human figure while residents stood frozen behind police tape. The footage shows a distorted body surging forward, limbs fold at impossible angles. Clouded eyes reflect light in a way that unsettled observers. Experts speculate the creature may be the result of severe genetic mutation or artificial biological interference. Its height appeared inconsistent, changing as the spine visibly compressed and elongated under stress. Arms stretched unnaturally long, skin gray and oily, as if scorched from within. Movement was erratic, jerky, broken, yet punctuated by bursts of explosive speed. Witnesses described its sound as metal, grinding through wind, mixed with a human scream, hinting at abnormal nerve signaling or internal tissue damage. 4 trained officers were required to subdue it. The unanswered question remains: how many were never caught on camera? Late at night, inside a government-managed residential complex, a maintenance hallway camera captured a disturbing emergence. From a locked utility door, a small, child-sized humanoid slipped into view, its posture bent and uneven. The pale figure shuffled forward slowly, oversized eyes fixed on the camera without blinking, hands bent backward at impossible angles. Specialists suggest the entity may be the product of severe developmental mutation, potentially linked to genetic editing or endocrine failure. Its torso appeared compressed, while forearms extended too long and bent at extra joints. The skin was thin, oily, and pink-gray, stretched tightly over fragile-looking tissue. Enlarged eyes hinted at abnormal neural growth and sensory overload. Though it moved hunched, like a broken office chair, its reactions were sudden and precise, comparable to a startled lab animal. Audio analysis noted a faint whining sound, similar to wind moving through old pipes mixed with shallow human breath. The locked door raises an unsettling question. If it learned how to escape, what else did it learn inside that building? Inside a restricted laboratory corridor, fluorescent ceiling cameras monitored by hazmat personnel recorded 3 identical infant-like beings suspended in a containment bath. Small bodies drifted forward in unison. Webbed hands flexed together repeatedly. Their eyes tracked movement independently. Some scientists draw comparisons to the Dover demon sightings of the 1970s, citing smooth skin, oversized heads, and emotionless expressions. The entities appeared artificially gestated, possibly cloned or engineered through accelerated experimental evolution. Their flesh was pale and rubbery, limbs shortened but fitted with extra joints. A faint odor of heated metal mixed with decay lingered in the chamber. Though physically weak, their movements were deliberate, suggesting cognitive development advancing faster than muscular control. Observers noted that the infants reacted to human presence despite limited mobility. If these organisms represent an early developmental stage, the implication is disturbing. What was their intended final form, and why were there three? At a sealed downtown intersection, a fixed street camera recorded officers escorting a restrained humanoid with proportions clearly outside human norms. The crowd surrounding the scene fell completely silent. The spine rippled visibly beneath the skin, arms dragged far below natural length. No official explanation was given. Biological specialists suggest this subject displayed advanced spinal segmentation combined with extreme muscle overextension. Its height appeared to fluctuate as posture shifted, creating the illusion of growth and collapse. Skin was pale and cracked, eyes reflecting stark white in daylight. Movement was disjointed but purposeful, capable of tracking its surroundings, like a collapsed crane briefly reassembling mid-motion. Such traits raise concerns about accelerated adaptation, environmental triggers, or deliberate bioengineering. Authorities removed the subject within minutes, avoiding all questions. If they feared public recognition, the unsettling possibility is this: we may have already seen something we weren't meant to understand. Behind a commercial building late at night, a fixed service camera recorded sanitation workers freezing as a bald, dog-sized humanoid crouched beside overflowing dumpsters. The hunched body shifted cautiously, forelimbs locked, then released under strain. Its eyes glowed a dull, lifeless white. Analysts believe this creature may represent a failed bipedal mutation that reverted to quadrupedal movement. Thick, sinewy arms supported most of its weight, while the spine compressed downward unnaturally. Its skin appeared leathery and blotched, emitting a strong odor described as burnt oil mixed with rot. Movement was unstable, jerky, and uneven, yet capable of sudden bursts of speed, like a wrecked vehicle forced into a sprint. The choice of habitat stood out. It avoided forests. It chose alleys. That decision suggests awareness, not instinct, an understanding that hiding among human infrastructure may offer better survival than the wild. On a deserted two-lane highway, a civilian dashcam captured a skeletal figure with antlers crossing the road upright under full headlights. The tall form stepped forward deliberately, its legs bent backward mid-stride. No animal sound followed. Experts suggest the entity displays signs of extreme skeletal restructuring, possibly caused by environmental contamination. Limbs were elongated, joints visibly exposed, and pale skin stretched tightly over bone. Despite its size, compared to a full-grown moose, it moved without sound, stiff but intentional. Some researchers reference skinwalker lore from Native American traditions, describing animals adopting distorted human posture. In this case, the evidence points less toward myth and more toward mutation or mimicry. The silence disturbed witnesses more than the appearance. If an animal can learn to stand like a human, the next step may not be physical at all. The question becomes, when does imitation turn into understanding? In broad daylight, at a major city intersection, a stabilized traffic camera recorded officers escorting a muscular humanoid, displaying clear reptilian traits. A wide torso flexed unnaturally. Skin rippled beneath surface tension. The surrounding crowd fell completely silent. Biological assessments suggest radical gene splicing or extreme endocrine overload. The subject showed hyper-defined musculature, uneven limb length, slick pale skin, and a thick, tail-like extension that altered balance. It moved upright, but with visible strain, like a body assembled from incompatible designs. Witnesses reported a low, distorted vocalization, combining human resonance with a mechanical hum, reinforcing theories of artificial origin or accelerated mutation beyond natural evolution. What alarmed experts most was the location. This was not hidden. This was public. If one such extraction occurred in full view, it raises a final, haunting question. How many others were removed where cameras never recorded anything at all? Mid-morning aboard a commercial fishing vessel offshore, a crewman's phone captured a moment of panic as a massive non-human head was hauled from the ocean. The mouth opened far beyond human limits. Hooked teeth curved inward, slick with seawater. Its eyes narrowed painfully under daylight. Marine biologists speculate the specimen may be a deep-sea adapted mutation, forced upward by sudden pressure change. Its skin appeared calcified and crusted like barnacle armor, jaw tissue stretched and rubbery, and the tongue unnaturally elongated. The body, likely compressed by abyssal gravity, released a stench described as hot metal mixed with rotting fish. Though heavy as industrial equipment, it flexed in violent spasms, suggesting extreme cellular resilience or hybridization between marine and terrestrial genetics. If it survived surfacing intact, the unsettling question is this: what remains below simply because it prefers to stay there? Early evening inside a brightly lit supermarket, a customer's phone recorded a humanoid figure standing motionless between grocery aisles while shoppers passed behind it. Its head drooped unnaturally forward. Fleshy nodules pulsed beneath oily skin. No alarm sounded. The figure showed signs of severe craniofacial mutation, possibly parasitic or fungal overgrowth fused with human tissue. Its face appeared hollowed, mouth elongated, skin mottled and slick. Though slumped like a broken mannequin, subtle movements suggested awareness, tracking motion without turning its head. Observers compared it to a malfunctioning animatronic that still knows where you are. The most disturbing detail wasn't its appearance. It was placement. If it stood unnoticed in a public space, how often have we already walked past something similar without realizing it? In broad daylight on a rural highway, a passing driver recorded a limping figure moving against traffic. One leg dragged stiffly behind, the torso twisted off-center. Witnesses froze. The subject appeared asymmetrical, possibly the result of traumatic mutation or incomplete transformation. Limb lengths were mismatched, joints unstable, and scarred skin patterns suggested severe internal damage. Despite this, the upper body remained alert and coordinated, compensating for the lower body failure. Those who passed nearby reported a metallic rot odor lingering in the air. What puzzled observers was endurance. Injured animals retreat. This one continued forward in open daylight. If survival alone doesn't explain its movement, the question becomes deeper. What internal drive keeps it advancing, despite its condition? In a rural field during daytime, a civilian camera recorded a dark-skinned humanoid crouched low, arms extended as if caught mid-change, its back arched abruptly, hands flattened into the grass. It made no attempt to flee. Researchers believe the subject may represent an unstable transformation phase. Skin appeared darkened and blotched, limbs lengthening unevenly, posture shifting between human and animal forms. Possible causes include endocrine shock, radiation exposure, or experimental gene activation. Movement resembled a person forgetting how to stand while remembering how to hunt. Heavy, tense, and restrained, yet coiled with potential speed. Transformation, if real, may not be instant. It may be gradual. If that's the case, the most disturbing question isn't what this was, but how many others are already halfway there. Late afternoon in a rural backyard, a groundskeeper's DSLR recorded a bloated humanoid lifting its arms toward the camera. Its neck appeared fused into the torso, fingers spread too wide and trembled, breathing rasped like grinding metal. The anatomy suggests extreme soft tissue hypertrophy, with fat behaving like fluid-filled sacs. The cervical spine was shortened and absorbed into the chest, limbs uneven and unstable, skin pale and waxy with visible cracks. Movement was slow, but punctuated by sudden lunges, heavy and collapsing, possibly caused by endocrine failure, radiation exposure, or artificial growth acceleration. Similarities have been noted to bloated humanoid reports near water systems in the 1970s. If the body continues expanding faster than it can adapt, the failure point may not be far away. At midday, inside a private home, a caregiver recorded a small humanoid held against an adult's chest. Skin folded like wet clay, eyes moved independently, hands gripped with alarming strength. Though infant-sized, the subject showed adult-level tissue density. Fingers were elongated with hardened nails, joints overly flexible with extra articulation, and skin wrinkled and discolored. A faint odor of hot metal and decay suggested accelerated aging or reverse growth mutation, possibly linked to gene splicing or toxins. Movements were erratic but forceful. If something this small already understands how to cling, the concern isn't infancy, it's what comes after mobility. Early evening in a dim room, a tripod camera recorded an elderly-looking face folding inward while the eyes remained alert. Skin layered over itself. Eyes stayed fixed and aware. No sound followed. The deformation appears linked to connective tissue failure. Facial muscles lost structural support, skin sagged in heavy folds, and nasal passages compressed. Hands showed elongated knuckles, pointing to a degenerative mutation affecting collagen production, possibly triggered by radiation or experimental drugs. Cognitive awareness seemed intact, despite physical collapse. If the mind remains functional while the body fails, the question becomes unsettling. How long before it seeks escape from its own form? At night in a suburban living room, a visitor recorded a massive humanoid reclining unnaturally across furniture. Skin stretched glossy and tight, limbs sank deep into cushions. Breathing whistled low. The organism displayed extreme mass accumulation, with muscle and fat indistinguishable. Limbs appeared partially absorbed into the torso, joints barely visible. Skin was pale, oily, and fissured, emitting a stale heat and rot odor. Though mostly still, it shifted suddenly with explosive force. Some analysts compare it to reports of compact, heavy-bodied entities adapted to enclosed spaces. If something like this can exist comfortably indoors, the real concern is what else may have adapted to human homes unnoticed. In full daylight on a dirt road, a safari driver's dashcam captured a massive humanoid advancing on all fours, arms longer than its legs, back bowed under strain, dust lifted without sound. The creature's structure showed extreme limb elongation and spinal deformation. Forelimbs bore most of the weight, skin thick and cracked like dried clay, movement uneven but capable of sudden acceleration. Despite its size, described as bison heavy, it moved silently. The condition may result from prolonged radiation exposure or abnormal evolutionary pressure disrupting growth symmetry. Its choice of a roadway, not wilderness, stood out. If it waits there deliberately, the question is simple: for whom? At midday, beside a small pool, a caretaker filmed a bloated humanoid crouched near the water. Skin sagged in layers, facial folds trembled, breathing bubbled wet. The body showed extreme fluid retention, elastic fat-like tissue, a compressed skull, thick neck folds, sparse soaked hair, and pale gray skin. It moved little, then suddenly surged. Witnesses reported a smell of hot metal and stagnant water. The form suggests endocrine failure or partial aquatic adaptation, built more for pressure than motion. If immersion benefits its physiology, what happens when it stays underwater longer? Near a service corridor beneath an apartment complex, a shaky phone recording captured responders pulling a shrieking creature from a storm drainage opening. Onlookers stood motionless, unable to process what they were seeing. The torso convulsed violently. Clawed hands scraped against asphalt. Its eyes flashed an unnatural white-green hue. Some researchers have compared the being to historical Loveland Frogman reports from 1950s Ohio, citing similarities in amphibian-like skin, oversized eyes, and a low, crouched stance. The creature's anatomy suggested long-term underground adaptation. Elongated limbs bending at unnatural angles, blotched skin cracking as it strained. Responders reported a smell resembling metallic rot, consistent with toxic runoff exposure or genetic isolation. Despite its massive weight, described as bison heavy, it moved with near silence until provoked. If something like this evolved beneath modern cities, unseen and undocumented, one question lingers: how long has it been watching from below? Midday at a private pool, a homeowner filmed a small creature perched against stone. Teeth flashed outward, eyes locked unblinking. Nothing fled. Its face showed hybrid traits: oversized canines, flattened nose, dense facial muscle, compact limbs with clawed nails, dark leathery skin. Movement was twitchy but precise, heavy for its size, yet agile. Researchers note similarities to squat, human-adjacent entities historically reported near homes. If it displays threat behavior so clearly, the question is simple: what reaction is it studying? On a storm-drenched roadside, a civilian phone camera recorded officers surrounding a towering, half-human figure illuminated by flashing emergency lights. Its chest expanded and collapsed unnaturally, legs bent backward mid-stride in slow motion. At first, it did not resist. Investigators believe the entity may represent an extreme musculoskeletal mutation triggered by chemical exposure or rare genetic recombination. Though its limbs were twisted, they showed immense strength. Skin appeared flushed and overheated, slick with moisture, while witnesses reported a stench similar to hot metal mixed with decaying tissue. The creature moved hunched, like a derailed train car, yet could surge forward without warning. This behavior suggests a nervous system fluctuating between systemic failure and moments of predatory clarity. When finally restrained, it stopped struggling entirely. The question remains: was it exhausted, or was it calculating the threat in front of it? Along a deserted rural highway, a patrol dashcam captured officers approaching a distorted humanoid figure standing on the shoulder, its head refusing to turn. The silhouette felt fundamentally wrong. Pale green eyes glowed under headlights. No sound was made until physical contact. Some investigators draw parallels to skinwalker legends rooted in Navajo tradition, describing entities that imitate human form but fail to replicate natural movement. This figure exhibited an unnatural gait, elongated limbs, cracked gray skin, and delayed reactions. Analysts propose a neurological mutation or identity-mimicking behavior, possibly linked to trauma or environmental exposure. Despite its massive weight, it moved with predatory silence. When it finally exhaled, the sound resembled wind forced through rusted steel. If imitation is already occurring, however imperfectly, what happens when the process improves? At what point does recognition become impossible? At dawn on a fishing vessel, a deckhand's body camera recorded a tall, slick-skinned humanoid raised against the rail. Skin shimmered wet, limbs hung long and shaking, eyes reflected dull gray. The anatomy suggested deep-sea origin: elongated torso, weak legs, dense upper body, scaled, oily skin, and joints bending beyond human limits. Movement was slow, interrupted by violent spasms. The stench matched hot metal and decay. It may have surfaced due to pressure disruption or habitat collapse. If it survived the ascent, the depth it evolved in may be far worse than imagined. Midday in a forest enclosure, a hiker recorded a restrained humanoid animal composite shifting its weight. The torso twisted upright, hooves scraped dirt. No sound came. The subject showed fused morphology: human-like upper body, quadrupedal lower half, mismatched limbs, cracked blotched skin, misaligned muscle fibers, and pale green eye reflection. Movement was tense but controlled, suggesting congenital fusion or artificial splicing. Unlike legends of transformation, this one was contained. If something this unnatural is restrained instead of studied, the final question isn't what it is, but who decided it should never be understood. Across courtyards, highways, oceans, homes, and forests, one unsettling pattern keeps repeating. These encounters are not isolated, and they are not fading away. Whether born from mutation, contamination, experimentation, or something we still lack the language to define, each figure captured on camera reflects a boundary being crossed between human and non-human, nature and design, known and unknown. What makes these moments so disturbing isn't just how the beings look, but where they appear. Among us, beneath us, and sometimes inside our own spaces. Cameras don't chase myths, people do. And what they record often raises more questions than answers. If even a fraction of this footage is genuine, then the world is changing in ways we are not prepared to face. The truth may not be hidden, it may simply be ignored. If this series made you question what you've been told, Like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Mystery Footage Uncovered, because the unknown doesn't disappear when we stop looking.